Conversation. Taking place, breaking norms, setting trends. Wait, of the day. Uncontained, making space, cultivating grace. Yeah. Filling space, converging minds on the same page. Every day, every way. Yeah. Be alright, be alright. Life is strange, full of pain. Joy and happiness is all the same. But you have to reclaim. Become your best self. Stop tripping off what people say. Don't you know it's gonna be a brighter day, brighter day, brighter day, brighter day. Lift your hands. Do it, y'all. Come on, better, 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 better. Better days are coming. Better days are coming. Better, 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 better. Here we go. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Somebody say hello, feel is home. You know how we do it in this space. We're trying to get our healing. Hey, it's Wade's word of the day. Wade's word of the day. Wade's word of the day. Wade's word of the day.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? You know what it is. It's Wade. Word of the day. Wade's word of the day. So thankful and grateful to be hanging out with each and every one of you on this Wednesday evening. Come on, everybody, do me a favor. If you're in YouTube, go ahead and share this on all of your socials. If you are over there with us on Facebook, make sure that you are tagging and all of that good stuff, hitting all of the hearts and all of the lights. We love over there in YouTube to hit that 100. You know what I mean? Hit that real quick and share it out to everybody that you know. Y'all know what it is. It's Wade's word of the day. And today I'm excited because every Wednesday we bring my co-host. I have a co-host on Wednesday for Wellness Wednesday, and she is here with us and she is ready to go. And we are excited about what we're going to get into today. And I hope that you are excited as well. Yeah, to get on your wellness journey. Yeah, because in this space, we believe in dealing with the mind, the body, and the spirit. And while we understand that our spirituality is the foundation upon which we do everything, certainly we want you to not only be well spiritually, running all around dancing and all of that kind of, stuff that y'all like to do, but we also want to make sure that your mind is right. We also want to make sure that your body is right, because here's the reality. It's hard to do all of those things when you're wrestling with, ailments and all of that good stuff. And so we want you to be straight. Can I get somebody to, in the comments section real quick, just say, hey, we just want y'all to be straight. And so that's why we come into the space with Wellness Wednesday. So I don't know about you, but hey, let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of Wellness Wednesday. Let's go. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going
What's
on?
good with you? How you doing? What's good with you?
Leanna Winstead is in the space with us for Wellness Wednesday. One more time, show her some love, everybody.
Hi, good people.
Every Wednesday we ask you to come into the space and talk to the people, give them a give them a word or whatever too. We can also do some breathing right from the beginning. And I think I need some breathing. I'm gonna bring in the close screen for that because I think today I need some breathing. You know what I mean? To bring my little stress level down and
Yeah.
all of that good stuff. And breathing is always in order. Anybody in the comment section, had a little rough day, a little challenging day and everything like that. And you say what? Yeah, you just need to, wasabi it and all of that kind of stuff. I think I need a little wasabi today. And so we're gonna go ahead and ask Sister Leanna to take us into some breathing. I'm gonna give you the full screen
Uh-oh.
for tonight. So go ahead and talk to the people. Walk them through a little bit of breathing on Wellness Wednesday.
Thank you. So, first things first, what's up? How you doing? I hope everybody had a really good day. Just so that we can connect and just have a really good conversation real quick. If everybody, right wherever you are, I want you to just close your eyes and thinking about taking two slow deep breaths. And by slow, I mean once you inhale through your nose, hold it for 4 seconds, and then let it out. We're going to do that 2 times. I'm only going to count you down one, three, two, one. It feels so awkward, right? I know. Think about being on camera and doing it. Okay, do one more. That's it, and then we're going right in. How do you feel? Doesn't it feel good? Okay. I think that is one of the most beneficial things that we can do, just to bring our awareness back to where we are. It's some people call it centering yourself, but it's just bringing your awareness to the right now, which is the only thing that matters. Sometimes we can get super anxious. So just if you think about it as a mechanism to help you calm down a bit or refocus, I think you get more of a benefit out of it. Realize how good it is, and it's better than what milk does for the body. Thank you for breathing with me. Thank you for getting on one accord. And I don't know, Rev, you coming back, or you want me to keep flowing? There we go.
Yeah. I know you had a few things that you wanted to cover, so go ahead and cover them real quick. We see Jordan is in the house. We see Shakira. We see Lori. We see Jonathan, baddest man in
Oh,
detail. And later on, we're going to drop the link. So if anybody want to come in and join us tonight, we're going to drop that link as well. You want to, any questions, any quagmires, whatever, you want to share with us what you're learning through Wellness Wednesday, you can. Uh, Matter of fact, if John want to grab his guitar and pop on in tonight, he can, and we'll also take your questions. So we're going to put the link for you to come in and be right in the studio with us tonight, if you so choose. We'll do that towards the end. So if you're dropping stuff in the comments section, we always go back at the end and read your comments and everything like that. So don't trip. All right, don't trip tonight. Is that all right with everybody? Oh my God! So I'm gonna give it on back to Sister Leanna Winstead, and I'm looking up some good music to play at the end. I'm gonna let her go ahead and do her thing real quick and walk us through some things she wanted to talk to us about today.
okay. Thank you. Um, One thing I will leave this conversation with is that I would love to empower everybody to just take a hold of whatever aspect of wellness that you're in, be it nutritional, environmental, whatever, because there's 7 pillars. Y'all remember we talked about that before. But one of the things I took some notes and wrote down, just so that I could give you all some straight feedback: iron anemia deficiency. I'm sure someone in this group has heard of it. However, I want to bring your awareness to some of the symptoms and some of the things that we can do because it affects a lot of systems to the body. It actually affects the most important system of the body, the lungs and the cardiovascular, which is your heart. So a lot of times we don't even know that we are iron deficient, which is one, it is actually, excuse me, the leading mineral deficiency across the world. So it's something I think really that we can get from foods, but we just need to understand what it is and how it affects our body. One of the things that is most striking to me is a lot of illnesses or diseases, they all have the same symptoms: fatigue, aches. Sometimes, if it's severe, it can be even shortness of breath for whatever ailment that you may have. And a lot of them have the same symptoms, and they often treat just one, but we don't want to get into that. Some things that we can do ourselves to help ourselves get more oxygen to our bloodstream so that we can continue to pump good oxygen to our bloodstream so that it can get to our brain, so that it affects our systems healthily. Number one is exercise. I think I might have jumped, but I'll go back. I'll circle back around. Well, number one is exercise. But even sometimes just telling yourself that you have to do it, that's what we really have to focus on now. Because I think the entire country is, we're so tired from always running. We don't really take the time to think about and consider. So let's see. One thing I would offer also, because I just want to empower people in all aspects of wellness. If you are connected with your doctor's office in your chart, I would encourage you to look at your lab tests. And these things here hopefully will spark enough conversation and enough questions for you to feel free and at liberty to ask your healthcare professional. This is not medical advice, but these are just some things that I use actually. My entire clan, my children, my grandchildren, myself, we are all um, iron deficient bad, have been all my life. But some things that I do with both kids, because at different times, they are, it shows and it's evident. Um, one symptom, the dark circles around our eyes, um, that's one of the first things that I can see in my daughter because she lives so far away. So I have to tell her to eat certain things or do certain things, but most of all, getting adequate amounts of rest. That's not going to all solve all the symptoms with your oxygen in your blood, your hemoglobin, which is your red blood. Um, but it will start to get you to feeling a little bit better. So that's one thing. Let's see. Ask about your blood work if you have any questions. One thing to look at or look for is ferritin, because sometimes your ferritin levels can be low and it's what they consider non-anemic, which just means that it hasn't gotten fully to iron deficiency anemia, but it is wreaking havoc on other systems in your body. So that's one thing that you can connect if you're looking at your chart. Um, Also, the normal hemoglobin levels for adult men is 14 to 18, give or take. For women, 12 to 16. I remember it used to be 13 to 15 when I was in school, but the latest numbers look like 12 to 16. So those are normal range when you look at your chart if you ever get a chance to. Some of the symptoms, let me just put them all in one spot. Um, Hair loss, brittle nails, fibromyalgia, like I said, dark circles, fatigue, unexplained. And again, some of these symptoms sound like other things, other illnesses or other diseases that some of us may be diagnosed with. So these are some of the things that will get the things: restless legs. It just slows down the circulation in the body. I just want someone to understand that when you're not getting enough oxygen to your blood, it slows it down and it's like sludge, and we need it to move freely in order to get the most optimal. benefit from it, and we can do that ourselves. Um, Nuts are good; those are iron rich foods. You can take an iron supplement. If you take an iron supplement, I would suggest taking vitamin C with it because that's how your body absorbs it best. And I mean, it could be oranges. Try it. Even if you just, like, I take liquid iron and I just put it inside my orange juice and I drink it. And it'll level out and then I'll be okay. And then when I feel those things kicking again, then I'll do that. Um, Red meat, I don't eat it. I don't eat red meat. I haven't eaten red meat in over a decade. However, um, my kids do. And sometimes they need a nice juicy burger or a nice steak. I try to encourage my mother, but she gets enough of the protein sometimes. I think, because sometimes I'm not sure. And if she's up here watching, we need to talk. Um, in the meantime, I'm sorry, because she just starts flowing. If you could right now, because you love me so much, can you just hit those 100s in the comment section? I would appreciate it. I love you to the moon. And so, dark green leafy vegetables. One thing that some people say that we cook our vegetables down too much, but I think you still get the benefit from it. Clean them real good, cook them down, and that pot liquor has always been the best thing for us. So be mindful of what you're putting in when you cook it. But collard greens are good for you. Asparagus, those are iron-rich foods. Some nuts, pine nuts, cashews, and if you have a nut allergy, please be mindful. Need I say that? But cashews, almonds, those are really good. And also bell peppers, raspberries. Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you about iron. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay.
All right. All right. I'm coming back into the space here. Give me just a second.
I know I went a mile a minute. And it's awkward sitting there looking at yourself.
No,
How y'all feeling?
I'm giving you a
Oh, and
chance.
some herbs. Also some herbs because I like to cook with a lot of herbs. Like cumin is one that's really good. Cilantro, dandelion root, but that's a whole nother stream avenue. I don't want to go down now. Okay, I'm sorry, Rev. I'm done.
No, you were straight. You were straight. You were straight. Come on, everybody, show her some love, giving us some information on how we get our iron straight and all of that good stuff. All right, what did you learn? Okay, nobody wants to take the test. Okay, let's go. Let's go. That's cool.
I hope
Hey, I
they
just want to
learn
remind you,
that we need oxygen so that we get good air to our brain so we can do things to clean up our oxygen so that we can have more optimal experience on a day-to-day basis. I hope that's what they learned.
I know that's right.
Don't say nothing. You talking to me? Yeah, I think he's talking to you.
Yeah. So we just, hey, get what you can get, learn from what you can learn. This journey of wellness is a life journey and all of that good stuff. And so everybody big up Sister Leanna one more time tonight. We thank her
Thanks.
for now tonight we want to talk about this, another thing which goes along with wellness. Let me see if I can pull this up on the screen. We want to talk a little bit about tonight about how one might get out of a rut. So let me upload some stuff here real quick and let me get it here. I probably should have saved it, but I didn't. Let's do this then. Let me see if I can share my screen with you. No, I don't want to do that. So I know what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. First of all, in the comment section, give us some advice on how you get out of a rut while I'm pulling up Let me save this real quick, and then we'll be able to put it up on the screen so we can have this conversation real quick. There we go. All right. How do we get out of a rut? Y'all talk to me. How do you get out of a rut? What do you do to get out of a rut? Let me see. Let me try this again. Here we go. I think we can make it happen now. All right. Here we go. It's coming, y'all. Don't worry about it. It's coming.
Just take advantage of some deep breaths. That'll help.
Yeah. Booyah, we made it happen. There it is. Wellness Wednesday. How do you get out of a rut? I don't see nobody comment on it. So let's say it like this. So let's go to the first thing. One, getting out of a rut. First, name the feeling and feel the feeling. Yeah, name the feeling, then feel the feeling. So in other words, if I'm in a rut, sometimes to get out of the rut, you have to acknowledge that you are in fact in a rut, if that makes sense. You got to feel that thing. So sometimes you got to say to yourself, this is what I'm feeling right now in this moment. And whatever it is, you got to give yourself liberty to feel it. So sometimes we try to suppress things, thinking if we can just forget about it and not think about it, that'll go away. But oftentimes, you cannot get rid of a thing if you're not willing to face a thing, right? So you got to deal with it. So name the feeling and then feel the feeling. So what is it? What is it? What is it? We always talk about in this space, the hard work is the hard work. And so what is it? Why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling in this current moment? You got to feel, you got to name the feeling and then feel the feeling. What do you say to that, Lynn and Winstead? Would you agree, disagree?
I
How does
agree
people
with some
get
parts
into
of it, but I don't agree with the whole thing because I think sometimes, well, let me ask this first. Are these in order that you're going to name off, or it's just a compilation of suggestions?
Well, I think what I'm saying right now is this is just number one, just in general. You
Okay.
gotta name name it. And I think where I'm coming from is that oftentimes we're feeling something and we believe if we just ignore it, it'll go away. But some things you just can't ignore your way out of it. You have to acknowledge, hey, this is what I'm feeling. What is that thing? Right? And then sometimes you have to allow yourself to feel it. The Bible says something like this. The Bible does not tell us to ignore being angry. What the Bible says is you can be angry, but sin not. Don't allow your anger to move you into doing something that you shouldn't be doing, right? But oftentimes what we do is whatever it is that we're feeling, we try to suppress. Let me give you another example of that. Because we are, we operate in kind of these spiritual spaces. I have this burning feeling. You understand what I'm saying? I'm dealing with these sexual urges, and oftentimes what we try to tell people to do is suppress, right? To act like we don't feel those feelings, that we don't have those feelings, right? But you cannot actually get a hold of those feelings if you don't first acknowledge those feelings and then understand, hey, I'm wrestling with this. I'm struggling with this. I got to try to find a way how to operate within the context of what I'm feeling, because oftentimes if we don't do that, then we'll end up moving in some toxic directions. versus acknowledging, hey, this is what I got going on in this moment. This is how I feel. This is why I feel the way that I feel. So I think that's the overarching point that I'm making. Now, again, I'm looking for your say on it. You don't necessarily have to agree with what I'm saying.
I don't. I feel like, um, like you said, to your point, the toxic situations, some of the toxic situations are literally born out of toxic situations. So sometimes people don't even know what they're feeling. Before we get to the upper echelon of, actually putting a name on it, sometimes people literally don't know exactly what it is. They know that they're feeling something. They know that they're feeling something that they can't explain. They know that it's frustration, but they don't know how to put it all together. And I think for a long time, the first thing that we've done was run to the church when something was wrong, and you can feel like something is wrong, or everybody is going through their own element of thing at whatever time. But sometimes people really don't know what the actual feeling is. Acknowledging it is the best thing that you can do, but how do you get there? So I just think that, in my experience, trying it that way didn't work for me. And I think I'm pretty intellectual, but there were some feelings when I was at some rough moments or fearful moments or unsure moments where I didn't know what those feelings was. And that's singing up in church every time,
No, no,
you know.
I kind of feel like we're saying the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? I think what I'm saying in terms of naming the feeling is trying to get to the space where you are um, trying to navigate to kind of understand what is this that I'm feeling, right? What is this that I'm feeling? And again, it's not an external thing. So to your point, yeah, oftentimes we run to the church and we want the pastor to give us the answer to what it is that we're feeling. And I go back to my original point. This is why the heart work is the hard work, right? To try to get to a place, hey, what is this that I'm feeling? And then the second thing is it's kind of like a conversation, right? It's kind of like a conversation. Um, so when I said to you, "Hey, you don't have to agree with me because this is your answer. It may not necessarily be my answer, but that's okay." And so oftentimes, even in conversation, right, people will say, um, you know, "I want to hear from you." Whatever we're at a crossroad with one another, and then my position is, do you really want to hear what I have to hear, what I have to say? Or do you just want to get into a debate? Because if you want to hear what I have to hear, it may not necessarily be what you want to hear. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think this whole notion of this point of naming the feeling and feeling the feeling is coming into agreement for what that means, what that is for you. And then from that point, you can maybe look for some outside, you know, avenues to help you get clear. And I think this next point kind of speaks to that in terms of how do we, when we're in a rut, what can we do, right? As we're trying to figure it out, number one, what we can try to do is maybe help someone else, right? With no expectations, right? So when I'm in a rut, maybe one of the best things that I can do is maybe help somebody else who is going through challenges, right? So as I'm trying to figure what's going on with me, right? I'm also now taking my mind to a certain extent as I'm helping somebody else navigate a problem, a situation, a circumstance. Number two, commit to a start and finish project. Sometimes when I'm in a rut, what can I do? I can get busy just doing, oftentimes I used to say something like this when people would say to me, how do I become a Christian? And I would say, just be, you know what I mean? Commit to start and finish a project. And so, to your point, sometimes it's, I used to say something like this, and I'll get your feedback on it. Um, Whatever you're going through in life, stay in church. And that goes back to what I talked about on Sunday. That goes back to what I talked about on Sunday, where oftentimes we think um, that this place, is supposed to be perfection, but it's not. is imperfection. And so whatever you do, keep going, keep showing up, keep keep um keep participating, keep being involved, no matter what you do, because it's not about getting to a place of perfection, because we will never be perfected in that sense. Number three, to your earlier point, how do I figure out this feeling? Sometimes it's about just taking a pen and just start writing down. Um, I can't think of the word, but you know what I'm talking about. When you just start writing, when you start
Journaling.
just writing. Say it again.
Journaling.
Journaling, but more so than that, you're just writing, not really looking for meaning in your writing. You're just you just pull out a pen and you just start just writing what you're feeling, what's going on. You're not looking for a opening paragraph, a middle and a conclusion. You just start to write. You just start to write what you're feeling in that moment. Um, Sometimes what you can do is claim a in the moment mantra. You begin to what? Speak over your life in that moment. Hey, no, victory is mine. I shall overcome this. I shall break through in this moment. So forth and so on. And then finally, hey, tell somebody, you know, hey, I'm struggling with this. I'm wrestling with this. I'm dealing with this. All of those particular things. Nina Holmes says, uh, dream board. I would agree with that. Um, to those five things, what say you? They're not in any order. I just kind of just threw them up there. Those were my quick thoughts. So they're not in any order. What's your thoughts on that?
So one thing, to Sister Nina, I do a vision board party. If you would be interested in doing one, we can set up a Zoom and get a vision board party for the end of the year. I would love to do that. Hit me up. We'll talk about it. Definitely would move these around in this order for me. Now, again, somebody else may have a different way that they go through them or have gone through them. But
Yeah, yeah. They're not in chronological order. It's
yeah,
just five things.
yeah, it's
So
just put
so
together.
so I guess what I would say is when you say move things around, so what would that be?
So my first thing would be to write it out because again, I'm coming from a perspective of yes, those things are what we should do, but also I didn't know how to. So I think I wanted, that's where my heart goes to the first because I want people to understand that even though, you were this, you're a mom, you're a superhero, you're a dad, sometimes we can get too frustrated. So writing it down, like Red said, just grabbing something because it's not going to make sense at first. It's not going to make sense at first. Just write it out. Look at it tomorrow. You may not be consistent right off the bat. Look at it again when you get frustrated. Keep it somewhere so you can see it. Make sure it's something pretty. By the way, I have journals on Amazon, but we'll talk about that in another venture. But writing out, I think, was super beneficial. I know people aren't really, since COVID, the way people attend church is a little bit different, but we have scriptures that are written on our hearts. So, like Rev said, um, I think some of the old school people would say mantra is like, oh, that's that mess. We don't deal with that. But it really is the same thing as speaking over yourself and or slash hyphen comma. Life and death is in the tongue. So that was one of my favorite ones. I know the plans that I have for you. Those are some of my favorites that get me excited to this day when I hear them. And it's like it's a call to me and you know what I'm saying? But that's because I'm tapped in. When we're super distracted, working day and night like Jackson 5, we're not even thinking about that. So that's where the breathing comes into play. Getting outside, seeing some greenery, touching some grass, I think so. But acknowledging it is the biggest thing, I think, and giving yourself permission to do so. We've talked about that before, so I love that. Did I go off
No,
on a tangent, sir?
no, you're good. You're good. I'm just reading the comments and everything like that. Uh, Lori says learning to trust in other people to help you
Yeah.
out. Shakira says sometimes I want to be delivered without going through the process, and then once I'm through it, I'm like, "Ooh, it wasn't that bad."
Yeah.
Verlin says sometimes being in a rut, you feel sorry for yourself, which is absolutely correct. Uh, Linda Smith says we can't be perfect, but we can choose to do the right thing. Um, See, I just feel like that's subjective to me. You understand what I'm saying? What is the right or what is the wrong thing? Now, I'm starting an argument right there. Not really, but just in terms of how we think about right, wrong, and indifferent, because oftentimes I used to, especially, when you come into a space and you gather different people, right? You gather different people from various backgrounds, from various things, various upbringing, right? Definitions of what is right and wrong is subjective. It's different.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And so coming out of my family, there was a set of rights and wrongs, right? Now, if I try to line that up with somebody who comes from another thought process, right? They may look at me because that was their norm, what I consider to be wrong. That was their norm. This is how we
Right.
kind of do it, right? And so I think um oftentimes oftentimes what I say, the Bible is our baseline. It's our baseline, but ultimately it is through our experience with God. That's how we grow in God, through our experience with him. And so none of our experiences are equal, right? So no one can tell me um, how I see God because my experience with God is different from everyone else. What we try to do is we try to loop everything in and then believe that everybody should be operating in that manner. But there's a reason that the Bible says that we go from faith to faith to faith, right? And so we all may not be at the same levels, but I do agree we can choose to do the right thing depending on how we define that. How we define that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What else does Verlin say? First thing I do is talk to one of my sisters. That's a good way for you. You understand what I'm saying? Because some of us may not have a sister we can talk to, and if we do have a sister, that those sisters may be loose with the lips, and so we don't
Yeah.
feel comfortable
I'm
talking
glad
to
she
them.
has
So
sisters that she
that's
can
the
rely
point.
on.
I think what we're talking about when we're talking about wellness and growing, I don't believe that there's a cookie cutter approach to this at all. We just what we try to do in this space is give you some tools, but then you have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Would you agree with that? Did I make sense
Absolutely.
with the right and wrong? And I do want some pushback from some folk if you don't agree with
Yeah,
me.
I
I
think
don't.
that's just your energy tonight, but we not falling into that. We not even gonna fall into your trap. No, we just gonna let you go ahead and have your moment. But I do honestly think that men think differently than women. And I
Yeah.
think you being a father, a pastor, and a veteran, I think sometimes you might be a little bit more rigid in some of your thinking too, because not necessarily in your thinking in that manner, but sometime on your insight. And then you come around the mulberry bush. But initially, I think you might be a little bit more rigid. And I think our levels of absorbing stress or stress relievers are different. So I totally agree we're at different stations, but I'm a firm believer that sometimes we think that people know things and they don't know things. So that's why, you know, I
No,
agree
no.
also with
See,
the it's
see,
not cut and dry at all. You have to do what you can do at your pace because that's where your awareness comes in. You start figuring this out about you and then you find out that and then you pivot and you know. So
oh,
yes,
no, no, no. I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. It's not a cookie cutter approach, right?
totally.
That all of us. So when I think about we go from faith to faith to faith, I think that is speaking to what you just said in terms of some of us just don't know. So so let me say it like this, because I've always said this: we only do the parts of the Bible that we really believe. Are you understand what I'm saying? And so
Absolutely.
if I haven't come to a place, I could say I believe that God's grace is sufficient.
Mm.
But if I haven't really come to a place around the ugly things in life and discovered that God's grace is sufficient in that too, you understand what I'm saying? Then ultimately I'm quoting something that I don't really believe.
But isn't
You
that
know,
what we've done for a majority of our life, our
I
adult
think
life?
that's the point that I think that was Sunday's message. I think that's the point that I'm making, right?
I got you.
That
That's some of the things that we've done. Those are those learned behaviors and those r-
right,
um,
right,
belief
right.
systems. Yeah.
Right. So I think you're absolutely right, right? Sometimes we just don't know. And so I've said that before. Sometimes in times past, certain things that we know now, they didn't know, but they worked with what they had. So when I think about we go from faith to faith to faith, I'm not talking that from like this whole spiritual type of standpoint. I'm talking about we get to different levels as we understand, as our understanding grows, as we develop, our faith muscles, right? And so, um, for one person, if I could use this analogy, giving $1 is a stretch. But for another person, giving $1 ain't nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So we oftentimes say here it's not giving, it's not equal giving, is equal sacrifice, right? Um, for one person, for one person, um, for one person, for one person leaving this good job to to go and do something that they really love ain't nothing. But for the other person, whoa, wait a minute, I gotta think about this. I gotta think about this. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I suffer in pain doing this job. It's not really what I want to do, but it's hard to let it go because in comparison, right? I haven't just come to that place of saying, man, I just want to be happy in what I'm doing. You if that makes sense. So
Absolutely.
I think on that level, I think we are agreeing. I think we were using different language, but I think we are agreeing because I don't think it's a cookie cutter approach to any place of getting to that place of wellness. And so I think that's why we just give, hey, these are certain things that you can do, but you have to get in and figure out what works for you. Uh,
Yeah. I agree.
what did Berlin say? Berlin said, "Meet them right where they are." Yeah, sometimes, yeah, you got to meet people where they are in the moment, and they all may not be there. There are some things that I think all of us have that are our line of demarcation. I just think that we believe, right, but our line of demarcation may not be somebody else's line of demarcation.
For sure.
You feel what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
I think I think that's the larger piece.
Say what?
I just think that's the larger piece. And so again, that goes back to what I said before. The Bible is our baseline, principles learned. So even if you even I didn't want to get all spiritual or even in studying the Bible, you never start the Bible with where you never start in terms of your understanding of the Bible with where you are. So you never start with application. Too often, many people look at the Bible and the first thing that they're thinking about is application. You never start with application. You always start with interpretation. What is going on with the folk in the Bible in that moment? That's what you start with. How did they hear it? What is happening with them? And then it goes from interpretation to implication in terms of what are the principles? What are the principles that I glean from their actions, and then finally application. So the whole notion of opening up the Bible, pointing, that's my answer. No. So you never start with application. You always start with interpretation, then implication. What does that mean in terms of principle? And then finally, now I start to figure out how do I apply apply that. But too often what we do, we start with application. And that's what we move from interpretation or um, exegesis, which is interpretation in the Greek, to eisegesis. Yeah, y'all will get that in the morning. But anyway, go ahead.
I just have to challenge it. Um, I get that part, but I still feel like sometimes that is the hard part. You know what I mean? Getting there to that point. I understand everything that you're saying, and I agree with that. I lost my train of thought in there too, because I was so pressed and ready to say it. But yes, I agree. I agree.
Getting to no, that's just a discussion on. To me, that's just a discussion on how we understand the Bible. What I'm saying is too often why we get mixed up in studying our Bible is because oftentimes we start with application.
True.
And
But I think
your
sometimes when we're in a rut, we're not even thinking about the Bible. That's where I'm at. I'm not even, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, I know.
that goes without saying. I mean,
You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times, especially if you have a church background, you go to church with somebody in your family, well, did you pray about it, baby? Or, you know what I'm saying? Those are the things that those are our systems. Those are how we cope. But like you're saying, the part about I'm not you, you're not me, take what you need, leave what you don't, those things, sometimes the avenue to get there, because we're so back here, sometimes the avenue to get there is hard. So how do we get to the point where we even want to pick it up?
Yeah, but that's humanity. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. In our humanity, you're absolutely correct. That's humanity. This is why I always try to, I always emphasize that the cross has two sides. It has what? It has
Horizontal and a vertical.
divinity, and then it has humanity.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so nobody in the Bible ever started with God in their humanity. That's just the reality. Nobody, none of us, even if you say that you're a believer, the reality is you didn't start with God. You started in your humanity. You started none of us, to be quite honest, as much as we be trying to front, none of us ran to God. Many times, most of us was trying to run away. You understand what I'm saying? That's humanity. And so even in my trying moments, I may know, or you may know, hey, there's an answer in looking for God. But oftentimes we, truth be told, and I'm not saying in all cases, but truthfully, we're wrestling with our humanity to get to a place of divinity. That's Jesus in the garden. Jesus in the garden is wrestling with his humanity, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And the reality is, even if you feel like you a super saint, the reality is, even after you get saved, most of the challenges that you have come out of the fact um, that there is a fight that's happening with you over your mind. Because prior to even having an understanding of being in relationship, whatever you want to call it, your mind did whatever your feelings suggested, right?
Yep.
That's just what it is. Whatever your feelings suggested, your mind was like, "Cool, let's do it. Sounds like a good idea. Let's do it." You stuck out of the house not
Sure.
because your mind really wanted to do it, but your body wanted to do it. Hey, I'm gonna go out, even though mama said stay at home, right? And your mind was like, "Cool, sound like a good idea," even though it was the worst idea. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So now when you, whatever you want to call it, church, enter into relationship with he who knows all things, he who sees all things, you know, get that second person, the third person of the Holy Spirit. Now he kicks in. That's where the fight happens, because now there is a struggle between what my body wants to do, my emotions, right? And what The spirit wants you to. So the spirit is constantly telling you, we don't do that any longer. We don't do that any longer. But your body is saying, well, maybe just one more time.
I
Maybe just
promise
one more
after
time.
this time I'm done.
Yeah, maybe just one more time, right? And it's playing tricks on the mind. That's Romans 7, right? That's Romans 7. So my point is, I agree with you. We don't always run to, um, you know, we don't always run as much as we try to act like we do. We don't always, in every circumstance, run to the Bible. Let me see what the Bible got to say. No. Most of the time, we try to wrestle through our humanity. You understand what I'm saying? And that's cool. And I'm not arguing that that's bad or good or anything, but that's in our humanity. That's what we do. So I can be a Christian, but if somebody say the wrong thing to me, my first instinct is not to be talking about I'm gonna pray for you, but in my mind I'm like, oh, this nigga did. You understand what I'm saying?
No,
You-
sir. I don't know.
you-
Say it
um,
again.
The first thing we think in our mind, I know I'm saved, but I just want to drop it down for this moment.
It's just
Well, just for a moment. You understand what I'm saying? And instinctively, for some of y'all, some of them choice words come out real fast. Now, listen,
yeah.
they do with me. Now, y'all can front and act like they don't do with you, but maybe I'm talking to the wrong crowd tonight. Maybe I'm just talking to all of the, but but that's just the reality. And so that's the wrestling. So even as we're talking about moving into wellness and being well, right? I go back to what I said before. Our Bible is our foundation. It is where we understand principles, but we grow, but we understand God through our experiences with Him. And often our experience with Him, um, has levels of humanity that's connected with it. You understand what I'm saying? Has levels of humanity that's connected with it. Abraham, uh, why you over here? God plucked you out, told you go look for a city, go name sons and all of this stuff that can't be numbered or whatever. But then you come into this foreign country and this king right here looks at your fine wife and you don't want to acknowledge she's your wife, so you play off like she's your sister because you're afraid of being killed by this king. And you literally say, go ahead and take my sister. And the king would have done it till the Lord comes to the king and say, don't you touch that woman. You understand? So here is somebody who loves him, but his humanity, his fear, sometimes make you do some stupid stuff. David, a man after God's own heart. You get on that balcony, he look over there, he see something nice and pretty. You would think he want to be, saying some prayers and everything in that moment. But the first thing, his humanity, hey, go tell that fine thing to come on up here and holler at me. So I agree with you. I didn't use a whole bunch of examples, but I agree with you. You understand that
Yeah.
that different situations, different circumstances, um, get us ultimately the prayers that we get to a place where we can say, yes, Lord.
Mm.
But the road to that yes, Lord, is not the same for each and every one of us. I think that's the point, right? And so when I go back to that choose what is right, again, that depends on what I feel is right in the moment. See, people don't want to acknowledge that, but that's because I could know that this person then made me mad and everything like that. I know what all y'all are saying in these spaces. The right thing to do is just let bygones be bygones and pray for your enemy. I've said this over and over again. Maybe I'm just not enough Christian, but I can't see somebody kill somebody that I love And then within the space of an hour, a camera pointing at me talking about, I forgive them. See,
I have to agree.
a lot of that is not really what folks is feeling. That's what folks feel like they need to say.
Right.
You can't come into a church full of my family members, shoot them all up, and then within the space of 5, 10 minutes, an hour, you talking about you forgive them. Hell no. You know, you understand?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Now, some people may.
Mhm.
I don't want to. I'm just saying the different road to get into the yes, Lord, varies for
Yeah.
us on our wellness journey. Same thing is true. Getting to that space of eating right, different for all of us. Getting to that space of thinking differently is different for each and every one of us. Getting to that space of understanding, to your point, um, maybe I need to eat a little different way if I want to lose some of this, because half of the journey to really losing weight is not running as fast as you can and jogging every day. It's diet. You understand what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
would I think, I think we disagreeing to agree, because I use a different language than what than what you may use. But I think, at the
No,
end of
I
the
think
day.
you're talking about the what. You're absolutely talking about, what we should do. I think
Yeah.
my how is just like, how do we recognize in 2023 some of those things? But we are pressed for time, so they'll have to come back next week and we can talk about it some more.
I looked at the clock. I'm like, man, we've been talking or whatever. But I
Yes,
mean,
the how.
listen, process for a few moments. I am going to invite, if you want to come in and speak your piece tonight, you can. You can say, as my sister said, well, I'm gonna push back a little bit on you a little bit tonight. See, I ain't mad at that. I kind of, I think that's important, because again, that speaks to the point that we don't always see everything. I've dropped it in the comment section. If you want to pop into the screen real quick, you certainly can. You certainly
I think
can.
we're already at the same. I think, how do you say it? Because you just said, not being at the same point. But I think you being who you are, and even sometimes parents to their children or older siblings. Sometimes you can be at the third stoplight. We could be at the second. We just don't know how to get there. We can see you. We can hear you. We can comprehend. We understand. And to me, some of those things mean like brain fog. To get out of a rut sometimes is a fight. So,
Yeah.
they have to
There's a
recognize that they're in it first.
reason I tell people all the time that sometimes life be lifing, and then life is tough. When we were kids, we just longed to be adults,
Ugh.
right? And our parents was telling us, slow down. You don't want to get here. No, I want to be grown. And then you get grown, and then you're like, oh shit, adulting mean I gotta be adulting. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. I take pride when Sarai starts talking to me about it. I'd be so happy. I just giggle.
Yeah, yeah. You
Welcome.
know, yeah. It's challenging. Life can be tough. You understand what I'm saying? And so, but all of us, when we were young, we just thought we had a handle on the world. No, I got all of the answers. Then when you get of age, you're like, man, I wish I could go back and be 10. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Or then you see your kids get older and you trying to tell them everything that your mama kind of sort of or daddy kind of sort of tried to tell you. You may use different language. You may try to, you know, reword it a little bit, but the reality is you are, you know, yeah. And I think to a certain extent that's probably our generation of the worst mistake that we made. We got grown and we started saying to ourselves, we don't want to tell our kids what our parents told us. You dig what I'm saying? When we should
For
have been.
sure.
Yeah, when we should have been. You know,
Yeah.
it's,
And now
yeah.
some of those lessons and some of those stories are, either gone or they're fading. And now
Yeah.
we're looking like we're just stuck like Chuck. I 110% agree with that. We
Yeah.
dropped the
Yeah.
ball somewhere, and all of our
Yeah. And 2 or 3
grown in.
generations later, now our kids don't have any semblance of some of that. And
Talk.
now they figure out, trying to figure out some things that, you know, maybe we were so scarred from it, which we really weren't, but we just thought we had a different answer. You know what I mean? A different answer. And now our kids are
Yeah.
down here like, looking at us, they, you know, now they think if I can just get as much money out as I can, I'll be
Yeah.
happy and all of that kind of stuff. But they're doing all types of things to try to get that money. Dig what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, we grew up looking at Aretha and, and Tina and
No,
them and,
no,
Patty and all of them.
no,
Now
that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Now we
That
well,
was
you know
you.
what I mean, but whoever you was looking at, you know what I mean. But the point is now I'm like I can't even now I look, I'm like, yo, they don't look
Mm,
that ain't Anita. You know what I mean?
mm-mm.
That ain't
No.
Anita, but y'all get it. Y'all get it. Let me let that go because I don't want to get in that. Let's get on up out of here. Nobody want to come in. So that's all cool. We didn't kept y'all too long. So let's go out this way. Because I feel like y'all are dope. So I guess we'll drop this on you. I was gonna play a little vibe band, but because that always makes me happy. But let's rock this one right here.
People. Joke, but Miss Badu told me out, and I know it. You can't tell me nothing else. That's why every beat I'm on is water and I might go bells. Me and my dog see like kings, but we be working just like slaves. Made it out of my hood. I deserve some accolades. So I need more than kudos in a fight. Cause I went from sidelines to the limelight. And I shine bright, ice cold boys Klondike. Never moved white, this ain't blindside. Finite, but you feel the spirit. Whole flow shining like soul glow. Every lyric skin cold, cold, so most po spirit. Not like Rondo, all my clothes when I pivot. Ooh, most these sheep move like clothes. Move like clothes. That's why I be on my own. See, I be on my own. Mama thought I was a show.
We gotta get out of here. Wellness Wednesday. Our co-host this Wednesday. Tonight. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. But hey, no better way to end all of us together. Believe that. So just here, we can go a little bit longer. We're gonna make sure that you tag telling somebody that you over there. Subscribe. Appreciate it. Cash out right there. One. Do me a favor. Go ahead. Enjoy what we do in these spaces. Make sure that you get as well. Let's go ahead and rock out with a little more David. Get out of this space.
My mama, she thought I was a joke, but Miss Badu told me I'm dope, 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 dope. I got receipts to prove it. Miss Badu told me I'm dope.
And we out of here. Love y'all so much. See you real soon. Yeah. Everybody.
I love that song.
Peace. I know.
Love that
Yeah.
song.
You're dope. You're dope. We out of here. Talk to you
Absolutely.
real soon. Peace, everybody. I guess I'll go out with my little version of We
I'm
Dope.
glad to be me. No more tripping. Comfortable with me. Talking that talk. Walking this walk. Planning, participating. Living life to the highest. I'm dope. You're dope. We all got this flow. Wave your hands like you just don't care. Cause you're dope, I'm dope, we're dope. What you say? You're dope, I'm dope. Everybody come along with this joint. I'm dope, dope. We're dope. Hey, everybody, we're dope. Yo, 1, 2,
We out of
3.
here. Peace.